connect to Wi-Fi. Turn my hotspot on. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We are getting our technology set up here, but welcome to Wellness Wednesdays.
It is Wellness Wednesday.
With Megan and Jen.
Hey, Jessica. Hey,
hi, Jessica.
Both Jessicas. Both my sissies, my real sister and my line sister.
I love it. Good morning, ladies. Good morning.
Share this video, if you will, please. You know how we do.
Yes, we love the love, because that helps our videos get out to other people as well. So when you like, love, share, it helps more people get to know the information that we feel is really valuable to help people feel better. Because that's our main goal, is just to give information to help people live happier, healthier lives.
That's right. Okay, so we're gonna get right to it. We're shared. Today's topic is old scripts, voices from the past that are no longer serving your higher good.
Yep. So I want you guys to be thinking about what that means to you. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you what it means to me.
Okay.
So one of the things that I have found both in my own life and with my clients is that we have a lot of things that have been told to us from various people, various sources throughout the years that inform us in a negative way. So it could be maybe a parenting decision that our parents made, telling us that we were not doing something the right way. Or it could be media telling us that our bodies are not what they should be.
I'm the media.
But it's not about that all media is negative.
Yeah, all media is not the same.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be friends or past partners, boyfriends, girlfriends who have said things to us that make us feel like, oh, there's something wrong with me. And I have had all of those things inform my thought processes about myself throughout my life. And so one of the things I try to do is give myself coaching when those thoughts come up.
Okay.
For me, the word should, and we can talk about that if you guys want.
For those of you guys who are tuning in, have you are you at a point in life, or have you ever been at a point in life where you feel like you've had influences from the past and voices from the past that are dictating the way that you currently live your life? And if so, how has that, or how have they affected you? Again, like, love, share this video. It's Wellness Wednesdays with Jennifer Robinson here. Tell them where you're from and about your business a little bit too for those
Thank
who are
you.
just tuning in.
Yeah, so I am Jen Robinson. My brand is Peaceful Living Wellness. I have an online magazine that has 17 different authors that contribute to it on all sorts of different wellness topics. I would love for you to stop by and see what there is to see on there, because we do everything from nutrition to mindfulness to sustainability, and we're trying to cover wellness from a multidimensional perspective.
That's the reason we're here.
Yes, multidimensional is very important. I'm also a mindfulness and mindset coach, where I help women in particular to feel more calm in their lives and to feel more empowered. And so that is my passion, my business.
Okay, so you said the word should.
The should word.
Why is that a trigger for you?
Well, I'm going to tell you a little story about how I figured this out. I was listening to an online psychology, not online, this was before online days,
Okay.
so it was an on-air, a radio psychology show.
Okay.
And there was a young woman talking to the radio psychologist and saying, you know, it feels so much like I can't do anything. I can't do anything right. And the psychologist was very wise and said, well, somebody has recorded something in you that is telling you that you can't do anything right. And the young woman said, oh my gosh, that's my mom. And I realized at that time, I was either in college or graduate school, I'm not sure which, but in that process of educating and trying to jump into real life. And I realized that my mother, bless her heart, was trying to empower me by telling me I should be doing certain things and I should not be doing a lot of the things that I was doing. In fact, I do remember I was in graduate school. My mom did not want me to go to graduate school.
Wow.
She was saying you should not be going to graduate school. You should be going into one of these 3 careers that she thought was going to be a good career for me.
So that kind of, I have a similar story with that. So I remember some of the older generations in my family, when I graduated from college, I have a degree in mass communications, and they thought that I should have gone to school and gotten a degree with something where I could have gone straight to the classroom and been a teacher.
That was what my mom thought too. I should be a high school teacher.
I applaud teachers. However,
we love teachers.
I know that I am not designed to raise America's youth. And so, not raise, but even teach America's youth.
Yeah.
That's just not what I'm equipped to do. My skill set is a little different, and I think that I am walking in my purpose. So I remember them saying what I should have done. And so it kind of, for me though, and I know it's not like this for everybody, and it hasn't always been like this for me, that served as a motivation to go out and do more and to do better and to do different. It didn't really shut me down.
Mm-hmm.
I should have done this. I'm gonna show you why I did exactly what I was supposed to do. Okay, and why I did doing what I wanted to do is gonna work out for me. And so I think it's important to recognize those voices of the past, but I also think it's important to try to understand sometimes why people say the things that they say. So
Absolutely.
Like they thought we should have gone to do that because that's what they knew.
Yes.
That's all they knew.
Yes.
And so now that we know more and have experienced more and lived more, and I want to know from you guys too, have you had an experience where someone has said something to you and kind of ingrained that mentality in you, and you've had to figure out a way to move on from it, an old script? That's what we're discussing here. And so I try to understand, where they're coming from.
Absolutely. Empathy is, we talked about this in our last video.
Yeah, I'm all about understanding right now.
Empathy is the first step in mindful communication. But empathy is also such a great place to start to feel better about your interactions with other people. So my mom, she was doing this out of the goodness of her heart. She knew that I was going to be incurring debt by getting a PhD.
Right.
She wanted me to be a teacher. I was on a path to be a professor, but she was going, oh, there's a lot of debt in that. If you go and teach high school, you won't have that kind of debt.
Right.
For me, I knew I am not a disciplinarian, and I would have had a high school classroom that was going nutso because I would not have been good at that part of teaching.
Right.
I didn't have to do that in the college classroom, in the university lecture hall. So it was out of the goodness of her heart. She was trying to direct me in the way that was best for me, but again, with that narrow scope of what is best.
Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple of more people tuning in. For those of you tuning in, Deanna, hey, Mike, hey, say hi, like, love, share this video. The discussion today that we're having is about old scripts, and so voices from the past that are no longer serving our higher good. So we've shared stories about how the word should is like a trigger.
I heard a quote once, and I don't know who it's from. If you guys know who it's from, post it up there. It's, don't should all over yourself.
Yeah. All right, so Mike says that people say that I missed my blessing in comedy and acting by joining the military, but I know that by being in the military, I gained leadership skills and a purpose in regards to helping other people grow. So Michael, I agree with you, knowing you personally, that you haven't missed your calling, especially because you're still young. Hey, John. Hey, Monique. You're still very young, and so it's not too late. It'll never be too late to go and try that comedic lifestyle.
And you know what just hit me is the USO.
Yeah.
How fantastic for him to have a heart for military personnel to know what they are going through, that trauma if they're in a war zone, and to be able to entertain them.
Yes.
So that is actually a double gift you have, sir.
Yeah, so we want to know from you guys, do you have any moments or have any thoughts in your mind, scripts in your mind, where someone has instilled something in you that you think it's time to let go? Another thing for me is like, some of my friends, I think most of my male friends, most of the men in my family believe women should have long hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like I am the president of the short hair committee. and I believe my father and most of my male friends, my uncles and stuff, are the president, vice president, secretary, and chairman of the Women Should Have Long Hair Committee.
And they live in South Carolina?
Yes.
In the summertime? I had very long hair when I moved here.
It ain't
so
happening.
hot.
I'm not growing it back. And every time I grow it back, everybody tells me, "Oh, I like you better with short hair." And I'm like, "Well, the world begged."
How beautiful she is. Can I get some
I don't have
applause
big
for
hair.
how beautiful she is
Thank
with
you.
that awesome hair?
You
I
come
love
every
it.
week. This is cheerleader, but no,
She is beautiful.
seriously, like people think that like women should have long hair and women should look like this, and it kind of just bothers me when people place me in any type of box. I'm just not a big fan of boxes.
Yeah.
I am a free spirit in some respects, and so I just like to be able to move how I move, and within reason,
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you, Michael. Hey, Jonathan, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, you guys, like, love, share this video with your friends so we can get more people to talk about it. We're talking about old scripts, and we want to know if you guys have been affected by things that people have said in your past and holding on to them and still trying to apply those to life now, when you realize that it's time to let that go and to write your own script. You ever had a conversation with someone and like you're discussing a topic, or they're asking you your opinion about something, and then you share it with them and then they don't really like that? And I'm like, "Oh, well, send me the script next time so I can know what to say."
What you wanted me to say.
What did you want me to say? Send me the script and I'll just, say that. I am not that friend to just
Right.
tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I think you need to hear. But when it comes to old scripts in life, sometimes as we grow and we learn and we experience and we see more of the world, then we realize that the advice that some people have given us came from a very limited scope.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and if you're okay with talking about the media a little bit,
Go ahead.
and really, I'm not talking about the news media,
Yeah.
but to a certain extent, especially that I'm from Southern California. So in Southern California, even in the news media, there is or was a type of woman who could be a broadcaster.
Because I know I
Was.
have some friends in LA now who have very wide range of looks, who are friends who work in Southern Cal now, who don't look like the stereotypical.
For which we are so grateful, because we as women, and when I was in the university setting, we started to see this more and more with men as well, see images, not just in the news media, but
Yeah.
more in like the fashion magazines and the so-called, what I call air quotes, health magazines of what bodies should look like. And again, we're in that word should. What body type is acceptable. And it is very much placing people into these boxes that you were talking about, Megan. And so I'd like to know from our audience, do they feel pressure from things they have seen in the past or even currently that are making them feel like their bodies are not enough? Because that's our overarching topic. What's making you feel like you're not enough?
Yeah, so I saw this thing last week. So evidently Eddie Murphy's ex-wife, this is so TMZ, it shows me right now. Bear with me, you guys. But
I love
Eddie
it.
Murphy's ex-wife, Nicole Murphy, was seen kissing a married man, an actress by Leela Rashawn, her husband. And then people started putting up these posts. So she was in the movie Waiting to Exhale back in the day with Whitney Houston and Angela
I
Bassett.
love that movie.
And she was the other friend. And so, people were she's gained some weight and saying that, like her husband is super fit and she let herself go and looks like this. And I'm like, whoa, we're not victim blaming here. That's no excuse for anyone to cheat on their spouse because someone gained some weight. We don't know the health issues that she may be facing. We don't know what insecurities she may be facing. We have no idea why this person has gained this weight, but yet people took it upon themselves to body shame her.
Yeah.
The world, God didn't make us, design us all to be, zeros or twos, and He didn't design us all to be 6 feet tall. And contrary to popular belief, body shaming, in defense of small people, goes both ways.
It does, absolutely.
So, when people begin sentences with me and say with your small self or your short self, I wake up every morning in this body, you guys. I know I'm small.
Yeah.
I don't need to be reminded every time. We have a conversation.
We skinny shame people in this culture
Yes.
too. By and large, on balance, it's more.
I know. Yes, it doesn't.
It's
not
more
saying.
about being fat, or large, or not necessarily tall, or short.
Yeah.
But no, we absolutely skinny shame people, and we in this society use the idea of something must be wrong with her in particular, and that, oh, she must have anorexia.
Right.
She must be bulimic.
Or she's not happy because she's so big or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case. Some people are just way more solid naturally than others.
Yeah, and there's actually more and more research coming out about that. And in fact, I would like to do an entire segment on some of the research on body size, because we have an idea in our culture that healthy is in a box. And we are really finding out that healthy is not necessarily in a box. And so we need to understand that just because somebody is a size 2 doesn't mean she has anorexia. And just
cholesterol issues my entire life.
Right? Somebody is a size 16, perfectly healthy. Even go to the endocrinologist to make sure I'm perfectly healthy. But people will look at me. I get stuff, when you're online, people do stuff online, and I get stuff about nobody's going to take you seriously as a wellness coach because you're so overweight. Well, first of all, I don't do stuff with weight, and second of all, I'm not unhealthy.
Right.
So I'm happy to show you my blood test results.
Okay, so let's read a couple of comments we have here. So, John, am I calling you out? Yes, I am always calling you out. He's the captain of he gave me the nickname when we were in middle school, 4'11". I'm 4'10". We found that out later in life.
We're not in middle school anymore.
I love John.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure he's doing it with love now.
So Fiera says, absolutely. I used to be very skinny and I did crazy stuff to gain weight. Now when I see myself, I feel like, I need to work on this and I need to work on that, because this idea of perfection is constantly poured on us. It is through social media, I think, especially. And then Tahara says, yes, I feel like this most days, the pressure of looking like something other than who I am. I think that, it's especially difficult on young women. And so the world is so different. I mean, I saw this post today and it said, the 90s, full of memories and no documentation.
Because we didn't have Facebook Live and Instagram.
We didn't have all of this access to so many to the world. We didn't have access to see what people looked like in Asia or the Middle East or, over the continent of Africa. We didn't have access to see people states away or maybe even cities away. And now that we do, we can see that, people look like this over here, people look like that over here, and I want to look like that, instead of, kind of embracing our natural look. And I can understand that. I mean, I work in an industry where I got to get up every day and put on makeup and make sure my hair looks great. And some days I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
But
is it okay if I bring race into this a little bit?
Sure.
So back in the 80s when I was coming up, I lived in an area where there were very few African Americans. Mm-hmm. Southern California at that time, San Diego was very white, and in my area, Hispanic. But I really admired the African American culture. And I would look towards the African American culture, women in particular, to feel better about my body. Because at that time, it was that African American women were more accepting of their roundness.
Mm-hmm.
And
shapely.
And that was something that was accepted by the community as a whole. And I was just like, I wish I were black. Right?
Yeah.
Silly white girl.
It has its pros and cons.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And that's why I prefaced this with saying that I lived in an area where
we didn't see a lot of us.
And not that I didn't know that racism was going on, but it was what I was seeing portrayed again in the media. And in the media at that time was more about magazines. Tyra Banks. Mm-hmm. She was the black supermodel at that time, and she had a booty, and I was like, I am so grateful for her because she has a booty. Because in 1985 you were supposed to have boyish hips and a flat butt and big boobs. And how does that happen? For some people it does. That's awesome. But for most women, that's not what happens.
Can't relate to that.
Yeah. So I was just entirely grateful to my very narrow knowledge of that. And this is what I think probably I was learning in school. It was so long ago now. But that African American women were supposedly more accepting of their bodies and their roundness.
Yeah, I think it is things vary through cultures and races, and so even though like the whole concept of race is a whole nother topic for me, but Tahara, she has a booty. And so I think that especially now, African American women, we are totally embracing all of our looks.
I love it.
And the fullness of our lips is sought after. The fullness of our hips is sought after. And I think that women, and it's not just African American, I think that, Caucasian women, I think Asian women, I think women as a whole are more so embracing who they are. And I think that it's okay to look at other cultures and other races and admire things. And if that's what you want, I mean, we live in a society now where you can go buy it. But I also think that you should embrace who you are. I mean, we are such a different look. Everybody looks so different. Imagine if we all looked the same. That would be so boring.
It would be so boring. That's what we were being fed in that period of time.
We don't have to anymore. And I love the beauty. You know what I love, Jen? I love the beauty of wigs. Fiera, if you're still on here, she's a wig connoisseur.
Ooh.
And so I love how you can recreate your person, recreate yourself and be a different person every day with a wig.
The wig.
Yeah. I just think they are so much fun. If I could wear wigs more often, I would. My head's really small, so they don't really do a whole lot for me. I have my big curly wig. She has a name. She comes out to play sometimes. Tahara knows her. But yeah, I like how we can recreate ourselves and look different ways. But I don't subscribe to the standards of beauty that a lot of society has placed on us now. If you catch me outside of work, I'm usually barefaced, no makeup. You guys know me on the weekends. I don't comb my hair. We hope for the best on Monday. And so when I get to work, we just hope that it looks decent enough to be on air. But I just think that, we don't have to be what we see in the magazines. We don't have to be what we see on Instagram or Facebook. We should just embrace ourselves.
And my goal and my passion is to spread that word to so many more people. So even in Charleston, where we live, there are certain segments of town where you go out shopping to Publix, the grocery store, or Target, and the women are fully made up. They might be wearing yoga clothes, but they're, Lululemon $100 yoga pants. And it's still very prevalent in our community. Southern California, very much so. And more plastic surgery. And again, we can do a whole show on that, because there are two different sides to the plastic surgery debate. But all of it speaks to this idea of what is well living? What is living in a way that you are happy and healthy? And what can we do to feel better on a daily basis? So, like you were saying, Megan, when you're not going on air, you don't feel like putting on makeup. You don't feel like doing your hair. And you feel good doing that. I know other people who, they feel like, I need to have a little something.
And that's okay too.
Exactly.
That's just not my cup of tea.
Exactly.
And I think that that's important, is that what works for you may not work for someone else. And that's okay. I was thinking about this on my way here because I saw a post earlier. I was on Facebook a lot this morning. And it said that it was trying to track your engagement on social media. And it was saying that, you shouldn't be spending this much time on social media if it's not making you money. Well, as a person who spends an insane amount of time on social media, I'm on social media strictly to be social. And so I spend more time, and I'm not really necessarily trying to monetize it or anything. I'm communicating, I'm engaging with you guys. And so I don't have to do what you say do. Like, you're using it for a business aspect. I'm using it for a social aspect. So I'm going to spend more time being social, because that's what makes me happy.
Yeah. I have a 13-year-old daughter, and there's a whole different perspective when it comes to that age group. And as a mom, I do get concerned about what she's seeing on social media.
Yeah, because there's not a rule, but a one size fits all answer to this thing.
Yeah.
Like this thing called life. You know, you got to do different things. You have to do what works for you and your 13-year-old. And then me and my 30-year-old self, I can do something completely different because I'm not a 13-year-old. You know what I mean?
But I have these conversations with her so that I can help her to make informed decisions so that she will be able to inform herself when she's 30 like you are now. I don't want her to grow up and say, well, I have to do this because my mom said to do it.
Right.
I want her to be able to look at what is on Instagram, and I joke a lot about the yoga porn on Instagram. There's a ton of yoga porn on Instagram.
PG. PG.
Well, on Instagram it's more like, not, what was it, NC-17?
NC-17.
Yeah, it's not X, but, and I don't want her to think that, oh, I have to look like this and do yoga with barely anything on to be a yoga practitioner. I don't have to worry about she's always talking about her thick thighs. The girl is absolutely gorgeous. My husband is very tall, so she's got his height, but she thinks, I have thick thighs, right? I want her to be able, I know. I want her to be able to come in and say, oh, yeah, you know, I really like my thighs, and I like the fact that I'm tall, and I like the fact that one of my best friends she's tiny like you, and she's adorable and wonderful. I want her to be in a place where she can accept herself and others for who they are, and not see an image that she says, oh, I have to look like that.
Got you. All right, you guys. So we're going to wrap up this week's edition of Wellness Wednesday. And we thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have some old scripts that are outdated floating around in your mind and are not letting you advance and be your best self, go ahead and delete. Put those in the recycle bin, as we do at work, and store them somewhere else because they no longer have a place here. We'll be doing Wellness Wednesdays every Wednesday around 9:30-ish. We are at Still Studio downtown on King Street. Tell them a little bit about the studio.
Still Soul Studio is a meditation studio on King Street in Charleston, and they have classes on meditation. They have relaxation yoga classes. There's even one with hot stones, which is fantastic. It is a place to come and just chill out and find a sense of inner peace and calm. And in fact, I just saw a flyer out there for those of you who are parents that there is somebody who I don't know, but who is associated with the studio, who is doing mindful mentorship with kids and teens, children and teens. So that's something to look into as well. And I'd also like to put a shout out as a question to you guys. We want to do one more of these on I'm Not Enough. And we want to have it be a question and answer session. So if you could DM either one of us or in the comments on these videos, let us know what is really getting to you about telling yourself that you are not enough. Because I've come up with things that have come up in my life, that have come up in the lives of my clients, but you guys might have other things, and we'd like to address those and give some nice prescriptions for how to either put them in the recycle bin or, and I think this is really important, replace them with mindset that can help you just not even go down those rabbit holes anymore.
Right. Alrighty. And then go ahead. I tagged her page. Go ahead and give her page a like. And we'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, you guys.
Have a great week, everyone.